The human heart is resilient, but betrayal by blood is a wound no apology can mend. My name is Zara. I was 27 when I learned that the people I trusted most, my own family, had conspired in silence to hand over my past, my pain, and my memories to someone else. It started with a laugh. A careless laugh behind a half-closed door. If only I hadn't gone back into the house to grab my phone charger. If only I hadn't paused when I heard my name. If only I hadn't stood frozen as my mother, my younger sister Mimi, and my ex-boyfriend Daniel plotted something that would split my soul in two. But I did. I heard everything. And in that moment, something inside me snapped, not into rage, not into tears, but into cold, calculated resolve. I had been dating Daniel for 3 years. A quiet, charming man who was everything my heart wanted, until he wasn't. 6 months before the eavesdropped conversation, Daniel had broken up with me over text. A cold, dismissive paragraph after 3 years of love and shared dreams. I cried for days. Weeks. I asked questions he never answered. My family gave me space, or so I thought. That day, hidden behind the kitchen wall, I learned the brutal truth: the breakup had been orchestrated. Daniel was never just mine. He had been flirting with my sister Mimi even while he and I were still together. She has no idea, Mimi giggled. Do you think she'll come to the party if she finds out it's your proposal to me? Daniel chuckled. I'll make sure she doesn't. And even if she does, who cares? I heard my mother's voice too, cold and complicit. She'll get over it. Zara's strong. And frankly, you two make a better match. It took everything in me not to scream. I backed away, my charger long forgotten, and drove straight to the beach. I sat by the crashing waves as dusk settled, tears flooding my cheeks. It wasn't just Daniel, it was my mother, my sister. My family. They had chosen him over me. They were planning the proposal at La Cielo Resort, the same venue Daniel and I once said we'd have our wedding. The irony nearly choked me. For 3 days, I shut off my phone and spoke to no one. I wandered between heartbreak and anger until something crystallized in my mind. Not revenge. Not bitterness. Power. I wouldn't beg for respect. I would demand it. And I would do it quietly, flawlessly, and first. La Cielo was popular and exclusive. Bookings were made months in advance. But my best friend Ada worked in event coordination and owed me a favor. When I called her, her reaction was pure shock. Wait, you want to book La Cielo for a surprise engagement party? For who? For myself, I replied with a calmness that startled even me. There was silence on the line. You're dating someone? No. But everyone will think I am. Ada didn't understand, not then. But she helped me anyway. I booked the venue for the same date Daniel had chosen, 2 hours before their planned proposal. The logistics were insane. Invitations had to be curated carefully. I told my family I'd be hosting a business networking party for my new job promotion, knowing my mother wouldn't question anything professional. I even invited Mimi and Daniel, expecting them to decline, which they did. Perfect. I created a fake engagement announcement using AI-edited photos of me and a fictional fiancé, Jide, a supposed software engineer living in the UK. I sent the images to Ada and posted just enough online to stir the pot, but not enough to prove it was real. People speculated, gossiped, questioned. But no one could confirm anything. The day arrived. La Cielo glimmered under the August sun. Palm trees waved above the white drapes, soft jazz played, and a golden banner read, Zara and Jide, forever begins today. Guests arrived. Colleagues. Friends. Distant cousins. Everyone smiled, took selfies, and asked, "Where's the groom?" I smiled sweetly and said, "He's running late." He wasn't. He didn't exist. But the real performance began when I saw them. My mother. Mimi, Daniel. They walked in, confusion wrinkling their faces. My mother looked horrified. Mimi stopped in her tracks, eyes darting between the banner and the crowd. Daniel clenched his jaw. I walked up to them in a red gown that shimmered like anger dipped in elegance. Mom, Mimi. Daniel. I smiled. Didn't expect to see you here. You're engaged, my mother whispered. To Jide. He's the love of my life. I lied effortlessly. Daniel's mouth twitched. Never heard of him. You wouldn't, I replied calmly. Some people are good at keeping secrets. Mimi forced a laugh. Is this real? As real as your loyalty, I said, staring into her eyes. She blinked. My mother looked away. Guests came to greet me, pulling me away. I could see them standing frozen as they realized their perfect surprise proposal had been hijacked before it even happened. They left after 20 minutes. No proposal. No applause. No pictures. Just silence. I stayed until sunset, smiling through every toast, every camera flash, every fabricated story. And when the party ended, I walked barefoot to the shoreline, the same one I had cried at weeks earlier. Only this time, I smiled. Not because I had one, but because I had reclaimed myself. After the party, I thought I would feel liberated. Like the ghost of betrayal had finally been exorcised from my life. But power is a strange thing. It doesn't heal wounds, it only hides them for a while. By the next morning, my phone had exploded with messages. My cousin sent laughing emojis and said, "Girl, you shook the whole family tree." A former classmate wrote, "Tell me Jide is real or I'll lose my mind." But it was the message from Mimi that tightened a knot in my chest. You're so petty. He left you, remember? Why embarrass yourself like that? I didn't respond. Instead, I threw myself into my work and daily routine, pretending everything was fine. But behind the mask, I knew something had shifted. My mother stopped speaking to me altogether. She didn't call. Didn't text. Even my father, who was usually neutral, said during a Sunday lunch, "Zara, sometimes silence is stronger than noise. You should have walked away with dignity." But what about their silence? Their betrayal? Was that dignified? Still, I began to wonder. Had I gone too far? A week later, Mimi uploaded her own engagement photos. On a mountaintop in Cape Town. Nothing like La Cielo. She wore white. Daniel looked smug. The caption read, "What's meant to be will always find its way." Ring red heart. Their engagement party was set for October. Invitations were digital, classy. I was not invited. I tried to laugh it off, but it stung. Deeply. I realized then that no amount of plotting or spectacle could undo the pain of being replaced. Not by a stranger, but by your own blood. Then, something unexpected happened. Ada called. "Hey, remember that guy from the party? The tall one in the navy suit who works in PR?" "Barely," I said. "He asked for your number. Said he thought you were impressive." I was hesitant. The last thing I wanted was another man who saw me as entertainment. But after a few days, I agreed. His name was Ao. And he didn't know anything about the fake engagement. Just that I was bold, confident, and lit up the room. Funny how truth grows best in the soil of a lie. We met for coffee, then lunch, then a few late-night walks. He wasn't dramatic. He didn't speak in poetry. He didn't love-bomb me. He just listened. And somehow, that steadiness began to matter. I never told him about Daniel. Or Mimi. Or La Cielo. Not yet. But for the first time in months, I felt seen. And then, the final twist came. One evening, I got a call from my mother. Her voice was cold. "I hope you're happy now. Your little stunt cost Mimi her wedding venue." I stayed silent. "She's upset, Zara. The whole family's upset." "I was upset too, Mum." 4 months. "You never cared then." A pause. "Maybe if you weren't so dramatic, Daniel would have stayed." That did it. My voice trembled, but I kept it low. "I didn't lose Daniel, Mum. You did. You lost me." And I hung up. Weeks passed. The drama faded from the family WhatsApp group. The fake engagement became a rumor swallowed by newer gossip. Mimi and Daniel were back to posting their curated love story online, while my mother doubled down on acting like I no longer existed. But I was healing. Slowly. Every walk with Ao brought clarity. Every calm conversation helped me peel back the layers of pain, shame, and betrayal. And then one evening, under the golden hue of streetlights, I finally told him the truth. The party, the engagement, it was all fake. Ao didn't laugh. He didn't judge. He simply asked, "Why?" And for the first time, I told the whole story without crying. He nodded. "That wasn't petty, Zara. That was survival." I don't know if it was his words, or the weight lifting off my chest, but that night I slept without dreams for the first time in months. Then came the family dinner. My dad's 60th birthday. A big event. Everyone was expected. I considered skipping it. But Ao squeezed my hand. "You don't have to go to prove anything. But if you want to go, then go. For yourself. Not them." I showed up in a navy blue dress. Confident. Composed. Alone. Heads turned. Whispers hummed. Mimi looked away. Daniel barely blinked. But I kept my peace. I hugged my father. Complimented my step-cousin's dress. Laughed at a joke about politics. And then Mimi cornered me. "You happy now?" she hissed. "You made everything messy." I looked at her. Truly looked. She didn't seem victorious. Just tired. Nervous. She had gotten what she wanted, but not the way she wanted it. "I hope he was worth it," I said gently. Her jaw tightened. "You always think you're better." "No, Mimi," I said. "I just wanted you to choose me too." For the first time, her eyes filled with tears. But she didn't apologize. She walked away. I didn't follow. Because sometimes closure doesn't come in words. It comes in knowing you've outgrown the people who hurt you. I left the party early. As I walked out into the night, I looked up at the stars and smiled. Not because I had one, but because I had healed. The truth is, I never needed revenge. I needed boundaries. And now, I have them. No more fake engagements. No more performance. No more begging for love where there is none. Just me. Whole. Free. And finally, ready for something real. The people closest to us can be the ones who wound us the deepest. But sometimes, in the ashes of betrayal, we find not just strength, but clarity. Zara's story reminds us. Not all battles are worth fighting. Not all love is worth keeping. And sometimes, silence is the loudest victory of all.